This is a CBS7 First Alert Weather Day. Now, an update from the First Alert Weather Center.
Well, it is going to be a CBS7 First Alert Weather Day coming up on Saturday for the Arctic air that's about to move into West Texas. This evening, things are pretty quiet. Things are a little chilly out there as we've already seen the first part of this front roll in, but the Arctic air is lagging by about 24 hours. So this time tomorrow, we'll really see it start to roll into portions of West Texas. You can see that the leading edge of it is back here across portions of Kansas, where temperatures have been into the teens to even single digits. Goodland, Kansas, right now seeing temperatures about 7 degrees. It's 28 in Amarillo, 36 in Lubbock, and 41 across the Permian Basin, and also 28 in Oklahoma City. So starting to see that Arctic air ooze down across portions of the plains. Now, the forecasted wind chills, well, about this time tomorrow, we're going to see them drop down into the 20s to even the teens across parts of the Permian Basin, the northeast Permian Basin, and by the early morning hours coming up on Sunday, seeing them into single-digit territory all the way down to 4 below or in the Lamesa area. Teens across the Trans-Pecos, so you can see that Arctic air really starting to spill down in. And we're going to hang around wind chill values into the 20s, actual temperatures around freezing for most of the days coming up on Sunday. And by the early morning hours, we're going to see more single digits coming up on Monday morning across the area. So make sure you have that CBS7 First Alert weather app ready to go on your iPhone, your Android phone. You can scan that QR code there and get it if you don't have it already. That way you know the temperatures, the wind chills, and the latest forecast from the CBS7 First Alert team of meteorologists. Also, meteorologist Justin Lopez has special features concerning the Arctic air moving into West Texas on our YouTube page. Be sure to check that out.
2023 was a year of weather extremes across the planet. From the hottest summer on record to Hurricane Idalia and massive wildfires in Canada. Here in West Texas, we experienced heat records over the summer and drier than normal conditions, rounding out the year with 7.5 inches of precipitation, coming in at the 7th driest year on record.
In Texas, you guys experienced a grab bag of events, but in particular, I was really struck by that period of intense heat that y'all had in June. Periods of drought, periods of heat. That's something that unfortunately we expect to continue to intensify.
If you're not ready for next week's below freezing temperatures, it's a good idea to start some preparations. CBS 7's Jensen Young joins us now to tell us some tips for how to stay both warm and safe, as well as a few warming shelters opening up for the cold early next week.
An Arctic blast is making its way through most of the United States, and it should be in West Texas in just a couple of days. Some examples of some ways to stay warm is to stop any cold air from getting in. Make sure your drafts from doors or windows are blocked, and if you have a chimney, shut the damper as well. Dress warmly, even if you are inside. Staying warm in the below freezing temperatures is critical, but it is important to know how to do so safely.
One thing that kind of people do is they use their stove or their oven to heat their house. That is not recommended, especially with a gas stove or a gas oven. That light may go out and then you're just pumping gas into your house at that point in time. So it is not recommended to use your stove or your oven to heat your home.
To protect your house, insulate your pipes and open lower cabinet doors to allow the warmer air from your home to reach the pipes. You should also check your vents and filters to ensure nothing is obstructing the heat from flowing. Atmos Energy says the natural gas industry is ready to handle the cold and the amount of people who will be using their heating units to stay warm. So make sure you are staying warm in ways that keep you out of harm's way.
From the natural gas perspective, we're constantly watching the system. We're very aware of temperatures. The gas supply is being taken care of. We have trained personnel that is watching the systems. They're ready to respond. Natural gas industry is ready.
If you smell natural gas, it's important to act and call Atmos Energy or another provider, or call 911. You may want to turn your thermostat down during the day to save some money, but if you have any pets, it's important to keep them in mind as well. Ouch. Below freezing temperatures can be deadly, so some warming shelters are opening up to provide a place of relief for those who need it. The Salvation Army is providing more beds for people to stay overnight in the warmth and will have space open during the day for meals and a place to warm up.
Yeah, we need to know who you are, so you need a form of identification. But we are low barrier in terms of people can come to us even if they're high or if they're drunk, as long as they're willing to go to their bunks. They're not going to be freezing to death out in the cold.
Both the Odessa and Midland locations will be opening as warming shelters. You can find locations and times on their Facebook pages. The Ector County Sheriff's Office is also offering a warming shelter at the West Annex.
We'll have that manned for at least 3 days, it looks like. And for anybody that needs to go out there and stay warm, we welcome them to come. If they need transportation, if we can't provide it, we'll find transportation for them. But we just don't want anybody freezing to death.
The West Annex is located at 2265 West Sycamore and will open as a warming shelter at 7 a.m. on Monday. Considering how cold it's supposed to get, being fully prepared will be critical. Now we're going to go ahead and get my apartment ready for the cold as well. For CBS7 First Alert News, I'm Jensen Young.
Happening right now, the Sandhills Rodeo. But right now, we're looking back on the Sandhills Stock Show, which took place last weekend and left a lasting impression on all who attended. But the fun's not over yet. With more than 800 exhibitors and their animals competing in events, the stock show was a celebration of skill, dedication, and camaraderie. But what often goes unnoticed among the excitement are the countless volunteers who work tirelessly to ensure the success of each event. Behind the scenes, the dedicated team of volunteers and sponsors played an instrumental role in bringing the Sandhills Stock Show and Rodeo together.
We are a 100% volunteer committee. We have one paid employee in our whole organization. So if we didn't have those volunteers, it wouldn't happen.
As we said, the stock show finished last weekend. The focus is now shifted to this weekend's rodeo events. Tickets are still available for the shows, but they're selling out quickly, so be sure to get yours soon. And have you ever wanted to own an exotic pet, but don't want to drive to Lubbock or Dallas? Well, you're in luck. A new pet store called Jumanji has just opened up. The owners are born and raised in Midland and want to make a big name for themselves in the world of exotic pets. The owners of Jumanji's Pet Store started this business for their simple love for animals. Alex Gonzalez and his cousin opened Jumanji just last week. However, this idea has been in the works for a while now.
It's small right now. It's a small pet store, but I do want to be able to compete with big chain companies, and that's my ultimate goal, to someday be able to have several Jumanji pet stores, not just one.
Some of the other animals include bunnies, hedgehogs, squirrels, chinchillas, turtles, and more. All the animals are vetted and legal to keep in the state of Texas. And today, 5 restaurants in the Midland area were granted a permit to sell alcoholic beverages to their customers. But that process to get those permits isn't very easy. The Planning and Zoning Commission needs to know the hours of operation and the types being sold. They also look closely at the location to protect the community and comply with state laws.
When you think about restaurants, typically they're small businesses, local owners, and just looking at how we can streamline that process to make it a little bit easier for those small businesses while still ensuring that we're protecting the surrounding communities and neighborhoods.
Once the Planning and Zoning Commission makes a recommendation to the Midland City Council, the council determines whether or not they grant the alcohol permit. And in remote parts of Ector County, emergency response times can be long. Tonight, Ector County officials hosted another town hall about bringing emergency services to more areas in the county. CBS7's Hannah Brock was in attendance, and we'll have a recap from that meeting coming up tonight on CBS7 News at 10. Be sure to tune in. And across Texas, state authorities are blocking Border Patrol agents from accessing several miles of the Rio Grande and Eagle Pass. Late Wednesday night, state authorities began adding razor wire, fencing, and gates to shut off access to Shelby Park in an area under Port of Entry Bridge. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has said he's making it clear Texas Border Patrol will be better secured against the surge of illegal migrants, and that's all within Abbott's jurisdiction.
So Texas has the legal authority to control ingress and egress into any geographic location in the state of Texas, and that authority is being asserted with regard to that park in Eagle Pass, Texas, to maintain operational control.
Abbott told a conservative radio host that he's doing everything to keep migrants out short of shooting them. He said that's not happening because if it did, the Biden administration would charge the troops with murder. The Associated Press is reporting that the U.S. military hit another Houthi-controlled site early Saturday morning in Yemen after assessing that it was also a threat to commercial vessels in the Red Sea. After the first strike, Houthi leaders said American aggression will not go unpunished and that attacks in the Red Sea will continue. CBS News correspondent Willie James Inman reports from Washington. The U.S. government has confirmed that Iranian forces themselves seized an oil tanker off the coast of Oman carrying U.S.-sanctioned crude oil, raising tensions even further between American forces and adversaries in the region. Now you're looking at today's top headlines, shown here in real time with real viewers on CBS7.com. You can see all these stories and more by downloading our app or visiting our website, CBS7.com. Still ahead, the snow is piling up in Iowa days before caucus night. Next on CBS 7 News at 9, we take a look at how it's impacting the candidates and the voters. With the Iowa caucuses just 3 days away, the weather is becoming a big factor. Blizzard conditions have forced candidates to cancel some of their events or switch to virtual rallies. With temperatures forecasted to be in negative double digits on caucus night, many are wondering how the bitter cold will impact voter turnout. Natalie Brand reports from Des Moines.
Heavy snow snagged campaign plans, with time running out for Republican presidential candidates to make their case to Iowa caucus goers.
We had to rearrange the schedule, but we're out working hard.
The weather did not stop Florida Governor Ron DeSantis from holding some campaign stops Friday, but the super PAC supporting him postponed other events. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley switched her rallies to virtual only.
I definitely know I'm not in South Carolina anymore. It is beyond cold.
Polls put the two candidates in a tight race for second place, well behind former President Donald Trump. The big question, how will record low temperatures forecast for Monday impact turnout?
The weather will probably affect some people from coming out. I think for the next couple days, people will probably just not want to be on the roads.
The storm comes as some Iowa voters are still trying to make up their minds, like Doug and Ann Goodall.
From talking to voters, it sounds like there's a lot of people still undecided right now. Why do you think that is?
I think a lot of people who might have been Trump before and don't want to vote for him this time are just trying to figure out more about the choices between Haley and DeSantis. I mean, that's where we are.
While Iowa is the first contest in the nation, the state's top pick doesn't often end up in the White House.
Only 3 times between the two parties has a caucus winner ever gone on to win the presidency.
Drake University political science professor Dennis Goldford says historically the caucuses do help narrow the field. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Des Moines, Iowa.
If you're wondering which eventual presidents won Iowa, they're Jimmy Carter in 1976, George W. Bush in 2000, and Barack Obama in 2008.
Well, it is definitely going to get bitterly cold here across the area over the weekend. We'll pinpoint when the cold air arrives, how cold it's going to get, coming up next.
This is a CBS7 First Alert Weather Day. Now, an update from Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, here it comes. It looks like the Arctic cold front arriving about this time tomorrow, so already calling for a First Alert Weather Day. Coming up for Saturday, continuing Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday, so numerous days. First Alert Weather Days due to the drastic cold that's going to be affecting West Texas. In fact, if you look at the weather makers, you can see the cold Arctic high back here across portions of Alberta into Saskatchewan, and that's where we are looking at. Again, temperatures right now in Calgary at 25 below zero. So that just shows you the depth of the cold air that's heading down across the plains right now and across portions of West Texas on this northwesterly flow. In fact, let's take a look at the temperatures again across the country. It's 21 below in Billings right now, 7 below in Pierre, South Dakota, and 15 in Wichita, Kansas. So that is kind of the center up of the Arctic air that's going to be spilling down into the plains here over the next 24 hours and making its way all the way down to portions of West Texas by about this time tomorrow. Now, the Texas Futurecast showing you that we are going to see some low clouds try to build in as that front starts to move down across the Texas Panhandle and into parts of the Permian Basin by tomorrow evening. It looks like those low clouds really building in towards the early morning hours. But with the intense cold, it's going to be dry, so it looks like we're not going to see any wintry precipitation out of this. That's going to be further off to the east, so if you're traveling over towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area late Sunday into Monday morning, that's where we are going to see a wintry mix in the forecast. It could cause some travel issues, and some of that may be all the way down the I-35 corridor to Austin and San Antonio. But the biggest threat of snow really moving off to the north and northeast of the area. Now those winds, again, are going to be relatively quiet for most of the day, a little gusty in the mountain areas, but then we'll see that front whip down, gusts to 31 out of the northeast as the Arctic air starts to spill in across the northeast Permian Basin and Big Spring, and then into the Permian Basin as we move in towards the rest of the afternoon and into the evening hours. And then we'll keep this wind stirred up a little bit, so that's going to keep wind chills down across the area. Here's a snapshot of Sunday morning. Wind chill values near zero across parts of the Permian Basin north and east of the Pecos River. Looks to be the worst of it coming up on Sunday, but that's going to spread further south and west. Rest of tonight, and here's what we are looking at, seeing those temperatures dropping down to about freezing, if not 31. With a southwest wind, so we will see some wind chill values into the 20s first thing in the morning. Top out at 62 tomorrow before the Arctic air really starts to spill down. And your CBS7 First Alert exclusive 10-day forecast shows the Arctic air on the way on Saturday. It's going to drop temperatures all the way down to 15 across the Midland-Odessa area early Sunday morning with the wind chills again near zero. We'll top out only about freezing on Sunday, then back down to 13 by Monday morning. And Martin Luther King Day, we've seen bitterly cold conditions, highs of only 27 with wind chill values starting off in those single digits, and actual temperatures drop down to single digits, it looks like, coming up on Tuesday morning. So we're going to see more than 72 hours at or below freezing. So again, please take freeze precautions. Now is the time to winterize.
It's been 15 years since the miracle on the Hudson. Today, Captain Sullenberger is looking back. That story's next. We're keeping an eye on history now. This coming Monday marks 15 years since the miracle on the Hudson. On January 15th, 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549 made an emergency landing in New York City's Hudson River after being struck by a flock of geese shortly after taking off from LaGuardia. Thanks to the quick thinking of its pilot, Chelsea Soley, all 155 people on board the plane were rescued.
It was routine until it very suddenly, shockingly became the ultimate emergency of a lifetime. And we knew it immediately. As soon as the birds hit us and destroyed our engines, and we had lost thrust over New York City at low altitude with only a few options, we had mere minutes to solve the problem before our flight path intersected the surface of the Earth.
Soley, his co-pilot, and some of those passengers reunited in New York last night at the Paley Center for Media. The captain says the group will forever be bonded by their experience. Still ahead, art and cold weather. We take a look at an ice festival in Michigan next, plus your CBS7 First Alert forecast on CBS7 News at 9. Art and cold weather, living in perfect harmony in Michigan. The 20th annual Hunter Ice Festival kicks off today in Niles with ice carvers displaying their talents all over downtown. Artists have been hard at work all week cutting 32 tons of ice, Tom, into 150 ice sculptures. Visitors can also watch live carvings during the festival and a carving competition tomorrow afternoon. Tom, we've got some cold weather coming here.
Yeah, we could have our own ice sculpting competition.
Can we have an ice sculpting competition?
You know, we could do it tomorrow night, and the sculptures would hang around through the middle part of next week, and here's the reason why. Look at these temperatures. We're going to see the Arctic plunge arrive late tomorrow into Sunday. Temperatures dropping from 62 tomorrow afternoon down into the mid-teens by early Sunday morning with wind chill values near zero, and it's going to say sub-freezing for at least 72 hours plus, it looks like, all the way through early on Wednesday morning. So we have, again, lots of Arctic chill in our forecast. Now's the time to prepare, because this is something you don't want to leave any pets outside in, and make sure you wrap those pipes, cover those outdoor faucets, and again, check on the people, because it is going to be rather cold next few days.
All right, thanks for watching CBS 7 News at 9. We've got more news coming up tonight at CBS 7 News at 10.